guy? Did Derek call you?
Yeah, he texted me his number.
Okay.
Yeah, he texted me.
And also, Ben Pruitt that works with Monica, Ben, he's with Molly. He's one of our planners. He helped our church too. Molly and Monica, he helped our church as well. He did some stuff at church.
Who is it?
His name is Ben,
Yeah, black guy.
white guy.
Award?
That works with the planning department.
Oh, okay. What is the plan?
The county thinks they
He
can do the
actually
budget.
helped with our TVs.
Oh, did it? Okay.
I'm not on social media, so if they don't
I
tell
told
me
him, I
around
said,
here,
I told
I
him when he
don't,
gets.
so you know, you get it.
The budget.
You have to hear everything.
He did a lot for our church. He even had it where,
Was it expensive?
no.
I need to really talk to them.
I understand.
I called him, I said, you know,
Yeah,
we're small,
yeah.
we don't have much money.
Right.
And we don't.
That-
You know, and then we
It was the new employees that hired.
start from scratch.
We
And,
did.
and a big increase for all the employees.
We did, Mr. Mayor.
They was out.
Oh.
Yes, sir. I couldn't quite understand, I went to that meeting, couldn't quite understand, the sheriff had requested
That's how
9
Pleasant
new
Grove was.
employees.
Okay.
And it's tough when you
Not
do
as
what
many
you
as everyone else
got,
were.
you know.
Yes.
And
We started like a new
Couldn't really
church.
tell from the presentation.
And it took me a while to get them to think outside the box.
it's not a box. And we're getting there,
The increase,
you know,
Yes.
I got,
the sheriff
what's
was
that
kind of
man I
pushed
got,
through
I know how to put
and
that.
got.
Yes,
And, you know,
Plus, I don't know how
you
they're
know,
gonna do it,
Zana,
but
yes,
Zana,
yes.
what's your name? She wants to,
Okay,
so I.
that's gonna help you.
So it's working in my favor, so that's.
Yeah, that's what's gonna help you. All right, Mr. Mayor, it's 8:30.
yeah. Yeah, he,
They're gonna call our meeting to order this morning. I would ask if you have cell phones, to please turn them off at this time. So we stand and have pledge of allegiance by Councilmember Black and prayer by Councilmember Jeffries.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you would like to pray with us this morning, would you please remain standing? Dear God of us all, we thank you this morning for who you are, and we thank you for what you do. We ask you to look upon us this morning, look upon our agendas, and allow us to make decisions based on the citizens in our community. We ask you to look at each citizen, God, and just lift them up on this day. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. All right, council members on present this morning. You had a chance to read some minutes on May 5th. I hope you had a chance to read the minutes of May 5th. If you did, if you did not, to put them on our agenda for our next council meeting. Thank you so much. At this time, council for discussion, city manager.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and through you to the members of the council. We are here this morning to hand all of you our budget request for fiscal year 2026, and I just want to state the obvious. It's obvious that you haven't had an opportunity to review it yet, but we are going to have two separate public meetings and hearings that allow you an opportunity to ask any question or express a concern or change the budget to the extent that you would like to do that. I also want to announce that we will be placing the budget on the website today, and we welcome any public input, suggestions, criticisms, what is liked and what isn't, as we go through this budgetary process. So we encourage members of our general public to comment on this budget during this process. I am mindful, as I said, that you haven't had an opportunity to review it, but we want to just give an initial presentation. First, Karen Stapp is going to give us a overview of the financial condition of the city, and Whit Buchanan, who has been our intern for the past 2 years and has now graduated from college and is headed to the dark side down to Florida, after he leaves here, but he's done an extraordinary job for us, and I know I join all of you in thanking Whit. It really is. It's a great story. We're going to spend a lot of time today talking about capital because that is probably our greatest unmet need. The consolation, I guess, is that that's basically the case in most cities around the country. What's underground, which isn't seen, is all too often forgotten. But I knew it was an issue. That's why I advocated going to a consolidated public works department and hiring a true DPW professional, which we have now in Sean Wood. He's only been here 6 months, and he's still undertaking an evaluation process, but you don't have to be here that long to know that we have kicked the can of deferred maintenance, and the chickens will come home to roost if we don't address those issues. The other thing I want to say on behalf of our department heads, there have been many requests that are not included in this budget package, not because they're not justified, but because at the end of the day, I have to make revenues equal expenditures, and tough choices have to be made. It's kind of ironic because at the very time that we continue to ask our departments to do more and more, we are giving them less and less resources. I mean, literally, we give them more resources, but they're getting eaten up by fixed costs and things that are outside of our control, and Karen will discuss that. We have a general fund request of about $6.6 million next year, and a total budget request of $21.7 million for your consideration. I think this budget request allows us to maintain our level of services without a general tax increase. But someday soon, this council, as our chief elected officials, will need to make a decision on whether there are going to be additional resources available, or whether we're going to do what other cities have done, and that's cut services and set more priorities. It's a tough choice to make, and we've tried over the last 2 or 3 years. Every single department has sharpened their pencil. They've made cuts. We've consolidated services with the county. We've eliminated positions. We've done we've used every tool in the toolbox to try to save money at your direction, because if ultimately we're going to go to the taxpayers and ask for more resources, we owe it to them to make sure we've tightened our belt, just like people do with their own budgets at home. So Karen's going to talk about some of those fixed costs. Whit's going to talk about the budget process and where we are, and a little bit about the GFOA certification. And then, as I said, I want to spend some time today with Sean, because we have to talk about the big, the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is capital, that we're just not funding at an adequate level. And we need to reverse course, and we're not going to be able to do it overnight. When we make a decision that we're going to reverse the course, it's going to take many years to get us to a point where we are taking care of our true needs. As I said before, the one saving grace is it's not unusual. Many cities put things under the rug. They don't address them. But in the long run, it costs the taxpayers more. What might be a $10,000 fix today might be a $100,000 cost in the future. So from a financial standpoint, deferring maintenance is never a good strategy. So having said that, I'm going to turn it over to Karen to give you some brief comments, introductory comments, and then we'll talk about capital. Karen?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I would like to ask you to turn to, under the third tab, to page 55.
Fund organization?
No, page 55. It'll be general fund summary.
I was gonna call this document, by the way, a big, beautiful budget, but that term's already been taken by someone else, so I didn't use that term this morning.
So this is a general fund summary, and you can see that the revenues have increased about $314,000. The property tax budget is in anticipation on taking the rollback rate. I've received preliminary numbers from the county, but they are not, they're still working on it and making some changes. And so I'll try to get some, another update before the next budget hearing to see where we really are. We're gonna get about an extra $100,000 out of sales tax, and I have passed out the sales tax analysis. And you can see that the sales tax is up about a little over 9%. But the TABT revenue is down, which pretty much compensates for the increase in the sales tax. So between the sales tax and the TABT, it about breaks even. And so, that's one thing that we're gonna continue to look at. There's really not much you could do for the TABT. It's based on people purchasing new vehicles. And so, but we'll continue to watch the sales tax and make sure that, we're not going backwards on that. And I've also, back to property taxes, I've also handed out a property tax history that shows from 2009 to this current year, 2024, and what we have levied and what the increase and decrease has been. And so over the past 5 years, we have received about $588,000 additional property tax revenue just from new growth and the reassessments. Under the operating expenditures, you can see that operating has increased about $333,000. And then we have a minimal amount in capital for public safety. We are depending more and more on our SPLOST and T-SPLOST funds to cover some capital expenditures in public works. We are budgeted to take about 153 out of fund balance, and that's from 2 items. A sale of property for $90,000 that we did last year. Was it last year or year before? And that's gonna be used to put back into the Public Works department for some maintenance on the building and some improvements out there. Also, $50,000 to be added to the current $50,000 that's in the budget for the comp plan. So those are the 2 items that are making us budget $153,000 out of fund balance.
And not today necessarily, but at one of the public hearings, we certainly want to have a conversation with you because we're kind of in transition. You had a meeting with the county and it seemed very optimistic that there's a desire to work together, but there's really 2 plans that are being discussed. One's a comprehensive plan update, which is a state requirement, which we need to do, and the second is a needed economic development study, and there's others as well. We need to clarify, we have $100,000 that's set aside in this coming year's budget, but we need clarity in terms of what it is that you want us to do. And we can have planning department make a presentation and you can decide ultimately what you want to do.
So for those 2, without those 2 items, then general fund would just be breaking even at that point. Mainly because we've also moved so much capital over to T-SPLOST and SPLOST. If you turn the page to 56, you have the water and sewer fund. And we are anticipating, and we can talk a little bit more about the rate increase later, but we are anticipating a rate increase in water and sewer. And that will basically, without capital, will get us to break even as well. We're still budgeting minimum capital in water and sewer, just for the fact that the funds are just not there. Next page is natural gas. Revenue for natural gas is holding pretty steady. But again, it still has rising operating cost, and some compliant regulations that we're gonna have to do that we're not gonna be able to budget for right now.
You mean safety upgrades, or what are you referring to?
Upgrades to our system that have been pointed out by PSC that we need to address.
Is that the connection between the mains and the street to the houses? Is it related to that?
No, it's actually our high pressure, steel main,
Oh,
coming from Jersey. We have a couple of bridge crossings there, so we have to address.
oh, okay.
Next is sanitation. Again, a little bit of a rate increase there, that's being budgeted. And even with a rate increase, we're just breaking even, showing a net increase of only $326. So,
That is
on page 59, you have the SPLOST fund and the two SPLOST schedules, SPLOST 7, the remaining budgeted expenditures for that, and the total SPLOST 8 referendum. So you can see everything that we have listed for the whole 6-year SPLOST. And so some of the expenditures are going to be used, of course, at the parks, some green space acquisition, some park restroom, and fleet replacement. And that's where we're leaning on SPLOST for fleet replacement instead of general fund. Turn the page to page 60, it's the T-SPLOST. And you have a list of roads that we're anticipating paving with the LMIG grant and plus additional funding out of T-SPLOST. If you turn all the way over to page 70, you'll see a financial summary that lists all the funds and the proposed budget. So you can see that the overall budget is 21.7 million, but it's decreased from this current year, 887,000, but that's mainly because of using the SPLOST funds, the prior SPLOST. And so we're not budgeting very much out of that one, so that's where the decrease mainly comes from. All right, is there any question?
If we go back, Mr. Mayor, may I? Mr. Mayor, may I? If we go back to the SPLOST and the parks, I can't remember what page that was on, but can you?
59.
Okay, I said Andrews Park restrooms, I was looking for that. I just wanted to make sure that was in this year's, in the budget.
Yes.
And the equipment is also in here, exactly? I mean, right?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And when we go to the streets with LMIG, I talked a while back about Bowman Street or Bowman Alley, that was really bad.
Let me get a report from Aaron Wadley. and
Okay.
We'll get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And I would ask, if you really have questions, I think the city manager said earlier, the company has staff to talk about the budget.
It's on.
The city manager asked earlier, that if you have questions about the budget, just come and talk to him about the budget. enough, I just got to know how to staff them as a company. They've got questions.
I certainly will, but I have a question now, Mayor, if I could, in the public meeting. The Carmichael Park, $200,000. What is that for exactly? I mean, that,
Under SPLOST,
under page 59, with Carrie's question about park expenditures, $200,000 for Carmichael Park, which I understand is just a wooded lot at the moment, and that will clearly not build us a park. Why is that money needed at this point, and what is it for?
This is the whole, 6-year, project. And so that is currently not budgeted for this next year. But this lists out, overall, and gives a guideline.
Those were the projects that
So
were
it's
listed.
SPLOST 8 over the course of the
Yeah.
5 or 6 years that's,
Yeah.
well, $200,000, okay, $200,000 isn't gonna build a park.
No, but I think that it's enough to prep it, at that time. Is that right, Monica?
I'm sorry,
Carmichael Park,
yes.
it's just for prepping?
It's just for, grading, clearing, and getting it surveyed.
That's something, yes.
Next, we have a brief presentation by Whit in terms of the budget process or whatever, and then we'll get into a discussion about capital.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's been a pleasure to work with the budget and with City Masson over the past 2 years. For those that don't know how we've set up the budget here, there's a very good overview of the budget process on page 41. If you'd like to go look at through the steps of the budget process, I'd recommend looking over this page and seeing how we're able to formulate it. Just in simple, what we try to do here is produce a performance-based budget. We switched to this method a few years back, trying to conform to better best practices in finance. A performance budget tries to seek out best performance from employees. Within each department section, we've also placed performance measures that each department has submitted. The way we've structured the budget is based on the Government Finance Officers Association Distinguished Budget Presentation Guidelines. That is an award that the city's won the past 2 years for its budget format. We've made improvements this year based on those guidelines and the feedback that GFO has given us. So we're hopeful to submit this budget and win this award for a 3rd consecutive year.
Thank you.
I want to now turn the mic over to Sean to talk about capital, but before I do, I just want to say in a general sense, I mean, we can go roads, we can go water, we can go sewer, we can talk about gas, we can talk about all of them and their needs. The first point I want to make is we're going to focus today on capital, but I certainly don't want you to assume that we're meeting our needs on the operational side, because we're not. As I said, every department head had numerous requests that weren't able to be included, and they weren't crazy requests. They were requests that, in their professional opinion, are necessary to fulfill the mission and the goals of the department. So we're going to focus today on capital, but I just wanted to make that editorial comment about the operating side. And the other issue is that if we take roads, for example, you know, we're spending somewhere between $400,000 and $500,000 on roads a year. I mean, I know that we should be spending double or triple that a year. That amount of money, the pittance that we get from LMIG, from the state, and T-Splost, aren't able in any way to fund a rational, comprehensive roads program. And in the past, we have just taken the money and fixed the worst of the worst. That's not a wise financial plan. We really don't even yet, as of today, have a comprehensive preventive maintenance program that extends the life of your roads. So Sean's the public works expert, not me, but from a financial standpoint, our present practice isn't wise financially. We're doing the best we can. We're doing what a lot of other cities do. There's no criticism on my part for anybody. But the point is, we need to try to get to a point where it makes more financial sense in the long run, and that's just not the case. Sean?
Good morning, Mayor, Council.
Morning.
How are you doing this morning?
We're good, hope you are.
I appreciate you allowing me time to just share an honest update on the condition of Madison's infrastructure. Not to cause alarm, but just to keep you all informed. The initial assessment that we conducted is based on recent events of my short 7-month tenure and input from experienced staff, as detailed asset tracking is not available as of yet. But we are working on an asset tracking system to be able to better inform you next year and in the coming years. Moving forward, our new work management system that we're putting into place will allow us to share that information and be more accurate with it. I'd like to just walk you through our infrastructure report card that we created based on, like I say, based on staff input and the records that we had available to us. Starting with our natural gas system in our first asset category, we gave that a D+, and mainly that was because of aging distribution lines and high pressure loops that need to be made to improve internal capacity and internal pressures and flows. Our compliance is nearing, but it's not complete. We're getting close on that. Our natural gas system is currently operating near full capacity, which means we have limited ability to support new industrial growth system-wide in areas like Madison, Morgan County, and Walton County. Now, that's not saying we can't serve a new industry or two, but we're not prepared for the growth that may be coming industrially, not just in Madison, but our system-wide along our service route. Right now, our supply comes from a single 4-inch high-pressure gas main that's 27 miles away in Jersey. As we were mentioning earlier, we have some issues with that line that need to be addressed. We're operating at a higher MAOP, which is a maximum allowable operating pressure now than what the PSC would like to see us operate at because of those issues. And we're working on those issues. But upgrading this line to meet possible future demand could be an estimated cost of around $20 million, which is a lot of money. And again, I don't want to alarm anybody. I'm just here to inform you that, you know, if we want to see the growth, then that's what we're looking at. Moving on next to our water distribution system. We gave that a C-, mainly because there are still many asbestos cement mains still in service. We've had frequent breaks and high water loss in some areas, as you may know. Our staff recommendations are to accelerate our main replacement, to implement new valve and hydrant exercising programs, and expand our leak detection efforts. And like many communities across the country, across the state of Georgia, we're just facing challenges with aging water infrastructure. In the past 7 months since I've been here, we've experienced a concerning number of failures. Again, not uncommon in other cities I've been in, but we had 33 major leaks reported in 2023. That's at a level that is somewhat concerning to me, because most of these leaks come after hours, and They require overtime, they require inconvenience to our customers. And in most cases, we have trouble isolating the area and turning the water off to make the repairs. Without a solid improvement plan and timely upgrades, the issues are expected to continue. In addition, EPA's lead and copper replacement requirements will demand some substantial spending for upgrades to the water system in the coming years. Okay, our next asset category is our sanitary sewer system. We gave that a D, mainly because inflow infiltration issues are widespread in some areas. And our south side plants just experiencing higher flows when we have rainfalls than normal. And we reach capacity pretty quickly when we have a high intensity rainfall. We've got a large number of clay pipes that are still in use, and our maintenance on our sewer system is mostly reactive. Meaning we don't have a lot of time to perform our CCTV inspections and do just routine maintenance because we're so reactive, chasing the sewer backups and repairing sewer mains and sinkholes. And I just want to share a little story real quick, if you'll allow me time. On the very night before my first day here at the City of Madison, I received a call that no public works director wants to get. Our vitrified clay sewer main on North Main Street had collapsed and created a huge sinkhole that you could put a small vehicle into underneath the pavement. And as many of you know, this led to an emergency repair, road closure, and a necessary detour that we all received phone calls on, I believe.
Yes.
And we understand how frustrating and inconvenient that was for our customers and our citizens and businesses. It was frustrating for us all. And it drew concern from the Georgia Department of Transportation. But, you know, that wasn't the end of it. Since that event, we had 2 more of those on South Main Street. You didn't hear a lot about those because they were addressed in the daytime, and we still had to, you know, get help from the Georgia Department of Transportation for traffic control. But we made the repairs, and you know, these repairs cost the city thousands of dollars. The estimated rehabilitation cost of that line, which is, I believe it's the oldest one in the City of Madison because it goes right down North and South Main Street. Estimated cost to repair that line and rehabilitate it and line it is $1.8 million. Unfortunately, we're not able to do that in the coming year because we just don't have the funds available. But we're going to remain diligent and keep seeking the funds to be able to repair this line to where we can protect the public safety and look after the integrity of our infrastructure in the future. Okay, moving along to a little better news on treatment plants.
Thank you.
That's our water and wastewater plants. We gave that a C. Our facilities are functioning, but you know, many components. It's like a car. Our cars, we drive it, and pretty soon you gotta replace a part. Many of the components that are in these plants are nearing the end of their life cycle. Our staff recommendation is to invest in modernization, and we need to prioritize emergency generator backup power. Our newer plants have that generator backup power, but our older plants do not. And you know, going back to what John said earlier, when it comes to water and wastewater treatment, there's a big difference between, you know, what's underground and what can actually be seen. with above-ground infrastructure, it's easier to spot repairs that need to be made and shortfalls where parts or equipment are failing and make those repairs in a timely manner. When it's underground, we don't see that every day, and in some cases, we never see it. So that's why, it's easier to get funding for above-ground repairs, and that's one reason Madison's been able to, build and maintain 2 relatively modern facilities with our Lake Oconee water treatment plant and our Indian Creek water reclamation facility. While, these plants, they still require some routine repairs and part replacements, our older facilities are really showing their age, and they'll eventually need more substantial upgrades. The new environmental regulations being placed on the south side wastewater treatment plant will mean that we have to make major improvements in the coming years, and just to be able to meet the updated permitting standards. Are y'all ready for some better news? I'm sorry. I don't want to be.
You did mention good news
Yeah,
somewhere.
you said good news.
I
but
don't want to be Mr.
know.
Doom and Gloom. But, it's my job to tell you the truth, and
Thank you.
I'm going to do that. Next up is our Public Works buildings and utility facilities, and we gave those a B. When I came in the door, I was thoroughly impressed at the Public Works facility and our newer wastewater and water plants. Madison has really taken the initiative and given the resources to have really nice facilities. And I think I've told several of you the story about the things I've seen in the offices I've been in, and I won't share those in public, but I was really impressed. But it's like anything else. We've got to, make improvements and perform routine maintenance. And our building at 1501 Fairground is generally in good condition, but there's a little bit of deferred maintenance noted on the HVA system and painting in the interior and exterior of the building. Staff recommendation on the Public Works building is to begin a preventative maintenance schedule, and we can do that through our new work management plan and asset management plan. Several routine maintenance projects are planned for the coming year to help keep those facilities in good condition. Our top priorities include painting and some minor roof repairs, as well as we need to enhance security out there, install some locks and a few more cameras. And we're also planning to remodel the little reception area there to create a more welcoming space for visitors and our customers as they come in. And additionally, we want to clean, seal coat, and restripe the parking lot so it'll improve safety and appearance. On to traffic and street signs. You'll see that we gave that a C+. Signage is largely compliant with reflectivity standards, but some fading has been noted. Our asset inventory is incomplete, so we really don't have a good picture of what may be needed there to improve that asset. But most people don't realize it, but street signs are one of the most important assets the city maintains. They provide essential information to the public, and they keep traffic flowing safely. While we have a general sense of what the condition of our sign system is, we really need an accurate inventory to fully assess its quality. And our routine replacements for signs are already included in our yearly operating budget, but larger scale replacement projects may be required once we've received that sign inventory to be factored into the future capital planning. Next up is our pavement which includes our streets and sidewalks. And we gave that a D+ because, you know, some of our streets show alligator cracking, and we have extensive patching, and that goes back to our aging utilities, quite frankly. We have a water main break, we have to dig it up. It's a patch, it's uneven pavement, and a patch doesn't get better, it gets worse over time. And I had a DOT guy tell me a patch is a patch is a patch, and it's always gonna be a patch. What we wanna do is conduct a full pavement condition index, which is planned for the upcoming year. It's a survey to tell us exactly which streets that we need to focus on. And it'll give us a clear picture of our road conditions and, like John said, help us explore more cost-effective pavement repair options, rather than just relying solely on the expensive full-depth reclamation and resurfacing method that's normally performed. Worst first is never a good plan. It's never a good approach when it comes to roads. We want to take roads that are not so far gone, and we want to treat them with alternate pavement treatments to improve the life. We can get 10 more years out of a road, spend half the money that you would resurfacing, then that makes good sense to me. Lastly is our fleet, which includes our vehicles and equipment. We're in fairly good shape there. City of Madison's vehicle fleet is in better condition than most cities that I've seen. But there are a few costly pieces of equipment, heavy equipment mainly, that are showing their age. And some of our heavier machinery was purchased secondhand, and ongoing repair costs are now higher than the value they provide in performance and efficiency. So we are rolling out a new fleet management program this year. It's wrapped up in our work management system, HyperWeb, which we use for our work orders in gas and utilities, as well as Public Works coming on soon. And we're taking a different approach to maintenance by being able to make smarter decisions and plan for timely replacement in the coming years. Okay, wrapping up, we gave our overall system grade a D+. In summary, our utility infrastructure, it's showing advanced age and deferred maintenance. Many systems, they're still functioning due to staff expertise and spot repairs, but risk of failure are still rising in certain areas. Our recommended actions are to, number one, develop a citywide asset management plan with condition ratings, risk scores, and life cycle costing. Two, invest in GIS mapping and digital work order systems to improve tracking and transparency. That's already underway. We're getting that set up as we speak, and hopefully in the next 30 to 45 days, we will begin to be getting some good data from our work orders and setting up preventative maintenance work orders on our major assets like water and wastewater treatment plants. Looking forward to that and that training, and it's going to streamline our operations and customer service as well. Number four, we need to establish formal preventative maintenance programs across all of our asset types, as I just mentioned. We need to continue to seek state and federal funding for grants and utility infrastructure and rehabilitation and upgrades. And finally, last but not least, we desperately need to recruit and hire a professional project manager to manage all these projects and to support the city's asset management plan. I appreciate you giving me time to go over this report card, and again, I want to just reinforce that it's my job to tell you the truth, and you won't ever have to worry about me not being honest with you when it comes to the condition of our infrastructure. All I ask is don't shoot the messenger And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that can be overwhelming, and unfortunately, in too many cities, when they get reports like this, they freeze and they don't act. The truth is, we can dig ourselves out of this hole. It's gonna take a number of years. But our message to you is we have to begin. And it begins with Sean and his staff doing an evaluation over the next year. And then, early on, before the budgetary process next year, I want to propose a series of council workshops where each department comes in and does the same thing that Sean just did. They be open and honest with you about the struggles and the reality of providing the level of service that all of us have come to enjoy before the budgetary process, so hopefully you can make decisions of which direction we're going to head. As I said, this is frustrating and overwhelming, but I've seen it before, and the real decision that Madison needs to make is, are we going to do what other communities do and shove it under the rug? Or are we going to say, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to chip away so that sometime in 10 or 15 years, because all of us in public service, every one of our department heads in public service are doing what they do because they believe that they need to leave the city in a better place than when they found it. That's why we need to do a capital plan, and that's why we need our department heads to be honest with you in terms of the challenges that every one of them face. Over the last 5 years, every year they're asked to do more and more and more as their resources, because of the reasons that Karen articulated, the fixed costs growing, inflation, and the like, are chipping away at their ability. So the message from staff is, we want to be honest with you, we want to roll up our sleeves and not be so overwhelmed that we're frozen and that we don't act, but we do what's in the city's best interest in the long run by crawling before you walk. Sometimes you have to crawl before you walk, and that's what we need to do. But the only thing worse than that is doing nothing, and we don't advocate that as well. So I know that this whole presentation has been brief, but as I want to make sure the general public knows that you've just been handed the budget, and they may wonder why you haven't asked a ton of questions. You haven't read the book yet. So we want to give the council an opportunity to review the budget proposal. And as the mayor says, we're available night and day over the next 2 weeks to sit down with you to answer any questions or whatever before you make your final budget decision. Did you have something? Did I see? I'm sorry. So we're here to answer questions, but we're also here to meet with you over the next 2 weeks
Thank you.
when you have questions.
Thank
I
you.
would ask our council to please take John up on this request to meet with him, Karen, Sean, if you have questions within the next 2 weeks. And Deborah, when is our next budget hearing scheduled for?
That is scheduled for June 16th,
June 16th,
5:30.
5:30.
Which is a public hearing.
Right, public hearing, first public hearing.
I do have a question, Mayor, if I could, for Sean on the gas. It looks like the bulk of the 583, looks like capital improvement out of the gas fund that you requested. The bulk of that is high-pressure loop. Is that the 4-inch line under the bridges repairs that the state is mandating, or is that something else?
No, sir, that's to serve our northeastern section of the city.
Oh, okay. See the,
From
okay.
around the bypass up to Old Buckhead Road.
all right. All right, thank you.
There are no more questions. Mr. Peter, this is yours.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all.